Hello, I'm Theodore Parker, and this is the Sideshow. Today is Tuesday, July 12th, 2022. Temperature around here is about 77, going up to 88. Feels like 77. The days have been getting just a few minutes shorter at one time. It was daylight up until about 9:10 in the evening. Now it's about 9:07 to the end of the day. You have your mask. I've already mentioned COVID-19 variants. I also mentioned that last check there were 46,000 cases of monkeypox. So those are two things that you probably need to be aware of. Also, being as it is Tuesday in July, the 7th month of 2022, you want to be aware in the warmer days of having enough water as you go out, especially people that are working outside. So let's get into the news and see what's going on. I picked several items because it was hard to just focus on just one thing. We'll start out with the Russia-Ukraine war. Again, Russia has performed strikes on parts of Ukraine. In this case, the Chaflov Yar strike caused damage to residences and buildings. 80% of the Donetsk residents have fled. In one case, in looking through the rubble, a 9-year-old boy was discovered, and other residents were evacuated. On CNN, BTS is coming to Disney in a major streaming deal. As you can see, we have lawn care going on. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it's right by the window. And I've taken a moment to see what was going on with Disney. At one point, I felt that a lot of their rides had closed, but actually, this was during the time when what the governor the governor of Florida had changed the districting outlines for Disney. They had their own area which they supplied, if I'm not mistaken, police and fire rescue services for their company property. So they were an entity unto themselves. And there are a list of rides which you can ascertain on the internet as to what rides are open and what rides are closed. But BTS, part of K-pop, Korean popular music, is coming to Disney in a major streaming deal. So if you're not familiar with the group, you can look it up. You probably are familiar with some Korean programs. Last one that really reached notoriety was Squid Games. I think Disney now has a few other ones that are going on, but more importantly, they're streaming in the Korean language or native language of the people who are acting in the movies. So with this streaming deal coming up, you'll get some behind the scenes looks with the group and other things like that. Jill Biden was addressing a group of Hispanic journalists, and in her compliments inadvertently compared them to a breakfast taco. This did not sit very well with them. We are not tacos, is what the journalist responded as a correction to her comment. And it just so happens that this is Tuesday. So I'll let that one be. Not convinced, family of R. Kelly's fiancee, Jocelyn Savage, shocked by engagement news. So Jocelyn Savage is reported as one of the victims of R. Kelly's sex trafficking and racketeering charges. She had made an appeal to the judge before R. Kelly's sentencing that they were engaged and that she considered him to be a wonderful man and several other compliments. But her family says that they didn't know anything about her being engaged to R. Kelly. Apparently, her letter did very little to sway the judge because R. Kelly did receive 30 years. And most recently, he was put on suicide watch, resulting from that. And if you kind of fail to remember, there was a interview conducted by Gail with R. Kelly, and he just kind of exploded in the middle of the interview, jumped up out of his seat and started getting loud and acting like he was going to bust into tears, addressing the camera and addressing her. My life is on. So this was already, time goes by so quickly. The timeline has already probably been at least a couple of years ago. But they aired that interview or that excerpt from when he kind of lost it right there in front of the camera. Talking about cars and auto parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts employee shoots customer after trash talking. Now this was like interesting, to say the least. So the customer, it's video to support this, so you don't have to like take somebody's word for it. You have two women. One woman, apparently she's not satisfied with what's going on in O'Reilly's store. So she gets to talking bad to the customer service lady behind the counter. And the conversation kind of escalates to the point where the customer goes behind the counter, grabs the woman, and drags her, from behind the counter and starts punching her about her head, grabbing her by her hair and, gets her to the floor and punches her and all this other kind of stuff. This is all on video, The conversation or the words that was passed and everything. So after he drags her out behind the counter, the customer service rep manages to get to her feet and go back behind the counter again. And the lady is stepping behind the counter with her. But the customer service rep grabs a pistol, a gun. And when the lady sees this, she comes out from behind the counter, and the customer service rep comes out behind her and shoots her. So people in the store are the ones that are filming this, got it on video. And the person who's filming it is also a woman. She said, well, get the batteries, we're leaving. So anyway, it shows a little small couple of seconds of the customer service rep standing over the customer. And, well, it wasn't fatal, but the woman does have to face felony charges for assault with a handgun and several other things related to that. But it was just like all caught on film, start to finish. She called herself giving her a beat down. She went behind the counter, grabbed her pistol, and shot her. O'Reilly's. Did Michael B. Jordan dump Lori Harvey because she's an airhead? I don't pick these headlines. I noticed I steered away from this combination earlier, not because of anything in particular one way or the other. It's just that relationships are so unpredictable that when you find a quiet one, the tendency is just to leave it alone. You don't want to be in the news. But anyway, they have been dating for a year, and they're not dating now. But it was probably my supposition that, Michael had to do some work and he didn't really have the time, to spend with her like he had been spending. But when I, access this information, seems they've been looking at a house and a couple of other things. But now, as you may have heard, they have both removed each other from their social media platforms and are proceeding as if they are not together. The comments about her being an airhead come from somebody that's close to him or been around Michael since the breakup, and that she was hard to deal with. There is a difference in age, not as much as like with some other celebrities, but anyway, they're not together. The airhead comment comes from a third party, not comes from somebody saying that's what Michael said, not that it's quoted as Michael saying it, but a person reporting on their situation is saying it. Mary Trump says for the first time in his entire life, her crazy Uncle Donald is truly terrified. Mary Trump is the niece, obviously, of Donald Trump, but she has to me, from what the news reports, has an entirely different attitude than what her uncle displays, Donald. So with so much coming out with these 1-6 committee hearings, he's got civil suits, he's got criminal activity, he's got other things, and people are constantly being requested to come in and I don't know the exact word is testify to answer to the hearings or to render a deposition in regards to the inquiries of the 1-6 committee. So he's not getting away with it. He has had a tendency in the past, she says, to get away with things, but it doesn't seem like he's going to get away with as much as he had planned to get away with. Russia launches attack on Poland as hackers declare war on 10 countries, including UK. When I first read this, I said, Russia launches attack on Poland, war on 10 countries. And I said, oh no. But it's the hackers. A group called KillNet, a pro-Russian group, is attacking Poland, Germany, UK, and 7 other countries based on the fact that those countries will not allow goods to travel across their land for Russia. Russia's just about been cut off on every level, the last and most significant one being oil supplies to other countries, which cuts their economy down, and also cutting off the money of their oligarchs or billionaires, and also the actual finances, resources of the country. Most recently, Russia defaulted on a loan which had a grace period, and they were not able to pay, like on the international level type thing. So there you have it. But this interruption of services is like no service, direct point, and other things that read to say that error has occurred on the internet. And this has been going on since March, but it slowed down at the beginning of July. Kim Kardashian's friends are concerned about her future with Pete Davidson after his big move to Australia. Well, there were pictures of Kim and Pete on the beach, and they had on matching beach outfits and things of this nature, and traveling around prior to the holiday, 4th of July. They did not spend together. Kim was entertaining her children. And Pete is in Australia preparing to make a movie or to do some work on a film, Wizards, with other actors. So it's been a couple of weeks now. So it's not like, as it says, he's right in New York where they can just jet around, so to speak. And she's also been working on co-parenting the 4 children with Kanye. Recently changed his legal name to Ye. As he sits in his $54 million mansion after other financial situations coming up regarding high-end items, which he is having some work done on, the $54 million mansion. All right. Heartbroken Keisha Cole addresses Antonio Brown in a cryptic message on his birthday, months after their split. Well, I happened to see um, the video of Antonio Brown doing a live coverage on his birthday. And it's a little bit different, especially those glasses that he had on. I never seen anything like that before. Yellow kaleidoscope texture to them, whatever, and the rings and other things like that. So anyway, and to go back, since that's like 3 things on relationships, I didn't know. Let's see if I can say this correctly. That Lil Harvey had dated the rapper Future before. I hope I'm saying it right. But anyway, talking about that. So now Antonio Brown, who's no longer in the NFL, and Keisha Cole have been split for months. They're still trying to fill that, I guess, that vacancy, missing each other, somebody's missing somebody, however. So she did make a comment about people being real and trying to take advantage, men over girls and things, as women, excuse me. And speaking of the NFL, Condoleezza Rice becomes NFL owner. New Denver Broncos ownership group has added a prominent partner and former Secretary of State and Denver University alumni, Condoleezza Rice. So she lived in Denver, attended Denver University, and now is an owner in the Denver Broncos. Just think, a few years ago. Musicians, music lovers, guitar players. Fender hit by class action lawsuit alleging it overcharged millions of guitarists. This comes out, I guess, out of the UK, but it involves the UK and the US, based on Fender's trying to maintain if I'm understanding correctly, a single price. Typically, it's been my experience that if you do in-store shopping, you have a price, and if you do online shopping, you have a price that's lower, okay, in most instances. So Fender has not been observing this, but this particularly dates back to customers that bought Fenders in 2013 to 2015. But since it is a class action suit, then it probably took this long to get all their ducks in a row. But now it is official. They have a class action suit against Fender. And the part you don't hardly ever hear is Fender Rhodes. But I like my music, I like my guitars, so that's a dozen news items for this Tuesday, July 12th, 2022. I've been over here on Google, YouTube for a few days now. One thing I failed to remember to make you aware of, which other people here have a tendency to do right off, and that is the like button and subscribe. That's it. Hashtag